and welcome to the Fifth Estate Show. This is where we talk about development issues and the activities of non-governmental organizations in Nigeria. I am Folusho Oga, your host on the show. We are live at the Southeast Stakeholders Summit on Peace and Security as organized by the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, in collaboration with the Southeast Civil Society organizations. We have a lineup of activities at the event. Today we'll have Professor Chidi Odinkalu as the keynote speaker. We also have Governor of Enugu State, who is ably represented by his special advisor on legal matters. Stay tuned as we unwrap this journey together.
Welcome to the Fifth Estate News. Our top stories: concerns over electoral integrity in Nigeria took center stage as civil society groups and journalists convened in Abuja. Also ahead of UN meeting on status of women's rights, Ford Foundation grantees review Nigeria's draft report. And Center LSD holds learning meeting on open government partnership in Enugu.
These and more will be our focus on today's episode of the show. We'll be right back after this short break.
In a world filled with impactful stories and transformative experiences, the essence of change is vital. That's where we come in. With over 16 years of experience shooting documentaries, we specialize in productions for local and international non-governmental organizations. Our focus is on showcasing the results and impacts of non-profit intervention on individuals, institutions, and society. We capture the success stories that emerge from these interventions, allowing project management experts to focus on designing projects with the greatest value to the beneficiaries. Our skilled team of filmmakers, storytellers, and technicians serve as a powerful tool, raising awareness, fostering empathy, and mobilizing support for the cause that truly matters. If you are a non-governmental organization looking to amplify your impact through compelling storytelling, let us bring your success story to life, ensuring that the world hear the voices that deserves to be heard.
Connect with us by sending an email to info@isumedia.net.ng for more interesting updates. Follow us on our social media platforms @ISUMedia. ISUMedia, ocean of ideas.
Welcome back. Our correspondent is standing by and will share some of the trending stories happening in the development sector.
The Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room, in partnership with the Nigeria Union of Journalists, is calling for urgent reforms ahead of the next elections. At a crucial advocacy meeting in Abuja, civil society leaders and journalists examined key challenges threatening Nigeria's democratic process. Top concerns include attacks on journalists, vote buying, electoral malpractice, and political influence in media ownership. Participants also raised alarms over the credibility of Nigeria's voter register and the independence of electoral bodies.
Transparency and accountability in governance took center stage as the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development, Center LSD, brings its Open Government Partnership, OGP, learning meeting to Nigeria's southeast.
Wow. Today, we are here in the southeast, in Enugu. The focus of why we are here is basically to touch base with our people, the states that we have engaged in the past, know the progress, the efforts that they have made, what challenges that they have encountered, and what way forward in terms of sustainability of the OGP across the states, so that this learning will form a backdrop of what we are going to do as sustainability of our own organization's work into the future.
In Enugu, where stakeholders from Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, and even Delta, though in the South, gathered to share experiences, challenges, and best practices in implementing the OGP. This initiative, part of Center LSD's ongoing project to promote transparency and accountability, aims to deepen good governance at the subnational level.
Yes, so this regional meeting is part of our ongoing efforts across the country to be able to get states to improve on their implementation of the OGP action plans that they have, and also deepening reforms across the country. So for the South, we are here for states to come together and see what's happening. So it's a peer learning and peers review session for the states, and also for them to learn from one another. And again, very critically, we noticed from our interaction with the state, there's this gap with implementing their action plans. So state have action plans, there's a struggle to implement them. So we have come with a resource framework templates, reporting templates that will help them to demystify that action plan implementation and be able to break it down to bits and pieces where they're able to run the implementation and know what to do part time, how to do it, when to do it, and how to do it. So after this engagement, we see marked improvement in the development of the action plans for states, and of course, they will translate to reforms and development happening across the states.
And so for us, in the South, especially from Anambra State, was the first state in the whole southern Nigeria that signed on to OGP. Nigeria signed in 2016, Anambra signed in June 2017. And ever since, we've been doing quite a lot. It takes a lot of process, to make it happen, and you have to be strategic. We've done quite a lot, especially in Anambra and the Southeast. We are now at the stage of State Action Plan 2. We have done State Action Plan 1, that's SAP 1. And that is very key, you must have a State Action Plan.
Ford Foundation grantees gathered in Abuja to review the Nigeria's draft Beijing report on gender equality hosted at the Development Research and Project Center, DRPC. The meeting examined progress, challenges, and strategies for advancing women's rights. Priscilla Usiobaifo of Braveheart Initiative highlighted gender-based violence trends.
If reports are ready in November, at what point are we supposed to be engaging with the ministry who is in charge of the reports? Because most of us are getting to even see the reports in January. Some are even seeing it this week. So this also brings those questions in mind so that by the time the next report is coming up, we'll know what to do. Next slide again. All right, the process was undertaken by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, supported by UN Women. They had consultants. The reason I'm even bringing the consultant in this presentation is that the three of them are colleagues within the NGO movement. One of them is a Ford grantee, Antinike, and the other two, Felicia Onibon and Anneke, are people that we know very well. And it means that UN Women considered the input or CSOs to have brought them into this report. But the question now is, how come so many other CSOs were still left in the gap? And that also brings us back to the question around the timing.
We have noticed that when you send surveys, less than 15% respond to surveys. You follow up, and to give kudos to them again. I knew when they were sending out emails. The feminist group is the biggest platform for civil society currently in Nigeria. That thing was placed there with repeated, and people did not respond. So we also need to think about how we respond to calls for this kind of important report.
Traditional and religious leaders, including Reverend Father George Ehusani and His Majesty Igwe Alfred Achebe, shared insights on shifting social norms.
We have hardly had serious issues of disagreements, meaning it doesn't matter at what level when they come. But by the time we are 5 days together, we are all agreed and they are poised to go back and do something. Which is why when I took on an assignment on behalf, to support Ford in the last 2 years to say, let's get religious leaders, top-level religious leaders across the country to make a 2-3 minute statement against gender-based violence. I had no problem, whether it is the CAN president or the general overseer of this church or the archbishop of this church. I had no problem in reaching them, and they were all willing to make statements. During the 16 days of activism, some of you saw some of those statements that we issued. And we intend to continue to get statements from such Christian leaders on an ongoing basis, so as to, when the followers hear their leaders speak against this, either individual practices that are unwholesome or the practices in general, once they see their leaders, when they see their leaders speak against those, then they more easily, they more easily change their approach, their attitudes, and then their behavior.
Our values orientation came to the conclusion that part of the challenges we have, that we've lost our core values as a people. Simple honesty, respect for elders, hard work, and all the values that generates good human nature that are fading. Why? Because money now became the root, the basis for all measurements.
The sessions concluded with a call for unified advocacy at CSW 69 to strengthen Nigeria's stance on gender rights. Those are some of the reports. Stakeholders at the Southeast Peace and Security Summit have called for urgent collaboration to address rising security challenges. The summit brought together government officials, traditional rulers, security agencies, and religious leaders, as well as civil society leaders, to discuss solutions to communal clashes, violent crimes, and instability.
Let me say, the dimensions of sacrifice the CSOs take for our own sake, for our collective survival, is something that resonates with what Chidi Odenka also tried to put across. You must be part of your own security. So what you are doing as journalists, as civil society organizations, as police officers, as lawyers, are all part, and you are doing the extra mile. So mine is to say thank you very, very much.
A communique issued at the event emphasized stronger community engagement in security management, urging local leaders to play active roles in peace building.
Gentlemen of the media, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my colleagues in civil society, particularly Southeast-based CSOs, I join our partners, the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, to welcome you all to this momentous summit. This gathering has been jointly convened by the NBA and CSOs as a platform for stakeholders to engage in informed conversations about the seemingly intractable challenges of insecurity in our region. Let me mention at the outset that we chose Enugu State for this event because of the relative security.
Participants called for increased government investment in infrastructure and equitable resource distribution to address socioeconomic disparities fueling unrest. Security agencies were urged to adopt intelligence-driven, community-centered policing to foster public trust. The summit concluded with a commitment to sustain dialogue and action-oriented strategies to restore peace and stability in the Southeast.
In the Southeast, the insecurity involves state actors, quasi-state actors, non-state actors, and fetish actors, amongst others. And then, of course, criminal actors. And it's important that we recognize the multiplicity and polydimensionality of the kinds of actors we have in the Southeast.
And in entertainment, Jos Carnival 2025 kicks off with unity prayers and government support. Watch.
The 1st of March 2025 marked the beginning of the Jos Carnival 2025. A unity prayer was said by both Christian and Muslim representatives from CAN, Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Father Gabriel Gowok, and JNI, Jamaa Nasruddin Islam Al-Haji Aliyu Muhammad Kudus, respectively, and not left out is Pastor John Gyang Emmanuel. The high moment for the event was the declaring of the Jos Carnival started and pledging government support to the Jos Carnival 2025 by Honorable Cornelius Diok, Commissioner for Tourism, Culture and Hospitality. In attendance are members of the Central Planning Committee and their subcommittee members chaired by Mrs. Marianne Damla and anchored by Anthony Baba Jibrin, the Secretary for Jos Carnival. The Jos Carnival 2025 promises to be an awesome experience as it is back, bigger and stronger.
And that's it on today's edition of the Fifth Estate Show. Many thanks for staying with us. Please don't forget to kindly follow us on all our social media handles at ISU Media. I am Folusho Oga. See you on the next edition.